All right, everybody's favorite segment, Stump My Nephew, Sam My Nephew. He answers really cool trivia questions that have to do with guns, gun history, gun function, all kinds of cool stuff. He's a wealth of information. So this week, we have something really cool that we're going to talk to him about that has to do with some of the other things he does when it comes to gun education. So without further ado, Sam, how's it going, man?
Oh, I'm well. How are you guys?
Good. So how's the weather in Virginia?
Well, we're preparing for the biggest blizzard in 16 years. That's coming up tomorrow. Super excited about that, as you can see. Just getting a head start here.
I had not looked at the screen, so I was not prepared to see that. Oh my gosh.
That's you're an actual FUD at this point.
Yeah. If you if 7 + 1 rounds of 45 ACP, well, really 7 because you carry without one in the chamber. If 7 rounds of 45 ACP aren't enough, then that problem can't be solved.
There you go. All right, Elmer.
That was such a good representation. I love that.
Yeah.
If you need more than 5 rounds to hunt, you're a bad shot.
Yeah. I heard you got famous. You went viral or something.
Yeah, apparently.
Talk about that. What's that video?
Well, as regular listeners might know, I'm a freelance writer and editor, and one of my clients is Leatherneck Magazine, the magazine of the Marines. I did a series of little 2-page spreads in addition to my other contract work for them for their Marine Corps 250th anniversary year edition of the magazine about historic long arms that the Marine Corps used throughout its history. And as accompaniment to that, they had me put together sort of impromptu these little short videos going over some of the salient features of those weapons.
And where were you? You were at the...
I was in the offsite vault for the Marine Corps Museum. It's in an undisclosed location. It's not accessible to the public. You need to be a researcher or other professional by appointment to get in there. But it's a really cool site, and I always enjoy going in there because they have these library stacks of hundreds upon hundreds of a huge variety of historic small arms, ranging from your common stuff like AKs, M16s in every variation, service handguns from U.S. military history, all the way to weird off-the-wall prototype stuff and really old, like Revolutionary War muskets, things like that you hardly ever see.
There you go. The only place in the entire Marine Corps where you will see small arms. So without further ado, 1.4 million views right now. Let's show your video.
This is an M1903 Springfield. Marines carried rifles just like this one before World War I, in World War I, and through the interwar period, actually up through 1942. In fact, this specific example was carried by a Marine raider on Guadalcanal. The M1903 is pretty much just like a Mauser. It's a bolt-action repeating rifle feeding from a 5-round internal box magazine loaded with stripper clips. On the back of the bolt, you have the safety. That's the fire position as indicated by ready. The middle position is safe. And the third position locks the bolt in case a Marine needs to go through rough conditions, crawl across no man's land, whatever the case may be. The bolt will not open inadvertently in that position. This is a magazine cutoff. This was a feature specifically requested by top military generals early in the 20th century who expected that whatever soldier or Marine was carrying this rifle would single load it with loose rounds until the time came when his position was being assaulted or when he needed to assault an enemy position, at which point he would disable the magazine cutoff, this position here, and have 5 rounds ready to go. On the on position, The magazine is disabled. You can only single load this rifle. The rear sight is graduated out to a rather optimistic 2,700 yards. The effective range of this rifle would have been less than 1,000 yards. Toward the muzzle end of the barrel, you have a stacking swivel, a bayonet lug, and a hooded front sight post. This prevents the front sight from being damaged in rough conditions, which rifles like this very often encountered. As I said, the Marine Corps used these for decades and even marched off to World War II with them.
Very cool. A
That is
rather
super cool.
optimistic 2,700 yards. I like
That made me chuckle.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit more awkward in front of a camera than I'd like, especially in those pieces. But full credit goes to Vanessa, the videographer, who's behind the camera for all of those. She did a really fantastic job cutting the clips together in which I'm speaking a little bit more coherently.
Great job, Vanessa. Great job,
Great,
Sam.
great.
Okay, so if they want to see more clips from This Is My Rifle, where do they go?
Those are on the Marine Corps Association's YouTube channel, and they're up on Facebook as well.
All right. Who
Now,
wants to add?
disclaimer
Go ahead.
for the
Yep.
usual listening audience, those video shorts are going to be pretty high level. They won't get into a lot of really intricate technical details that you might be looking for. They're sort of a 30,000-foot overview for people who might not be too terribly familiar with military arms. If you want some really good resources on all of those, I pulled a lot of the information I used in those from Bruce Canfield's books. He is an absolutely phenomenal gun writer. I highly recommend everything he's put out.
Okay, real quick. I knew about 10% of what you said about that gun. So, Dakota, what percentage of information did you already know about that gun?
That was a gun? Sam closing his eyes when I said that was funny. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really know a lot about historical firearms at all. So I can look at it and know that it's, I know how that gun works just by looking at it. Like I get the process of how to load it and unload it, but I wouldn't have known any of the details about like why they designed it a certain way or what the purpose of having the bolt lock, position on the safety is. I just don't. I don't read
That was
into
great.
things like
Alicia,
that.
what percentage of that information did you already know?
I'm right in the same place with Dakota. As number wise, I don't know how to put a number to it.
It was a lot of good information.
It was.
I hardly knew any of that. That was great. I thought it was really
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
that
and the
you-
safety, that was something that aspect was completely new to me. I've not seen that before. So that was
Yeah.
completely new.
and the fact that you knew who carried it,
Yeah.
when they actually carried it in service. That was amazing. There's a lot of
Yeah.
great information on that. You
Yeah.
did a great job. Those videos are really, really interesting. So make your way on over to the Marine Corps Foundation, Sam? Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
Marine Corps Association.
Sorry, Marine Corps Association. Make your way on over there and check out his other videos. Okay, now the Stump My Nephew question. Who's going to ask the question this week?
I've got it.
Dakota.
Okay, Chester from Vista Mesa asks, the Winchester
Good.
Model 70 is often called the rifleman's rifle. What major manufacturing change in 1964 caused many collectors to consider post-1964 Model 70 rifles less desirable?
Chester from Vista Mesa, thanks for writing in. By the way, I am not entirely convinced that you guys aren't just making up place names. Vista Mesa has got to be fake. There's no way that's
No.
real.
What do you
I'll
mean?
Google
Vista
it right
Mesa.
now. I kind of laughed when I heard that too. I don't know where that is.
It's got to be a legit place.
Mesa
Vista
Vista is a legit place in San Diego, in the greater San Diego area. Maybe the words got flipped when we retyped it into the show.
There is a Mesa Vista. That's kind of funny.
Mesa Vista. Yeah, near Sarah Mesa.
Because it means the same thing. A Mesa and a Vista are basically the same thing, right? Is that why that's funny?
I don't know.
Okay. Chester, whoever you are, wherever you're from or not from, what changes were made to the Winchester Model 70 in 1964? The big one is that they switched from a controlled feed mechanism to a push feed mechanism. And that sounds very complicated and technical, but what that means is that in a Pre-64 Model 70, the bolt has positive control over that round from the time it's stripped out of the top of the magazine to the time the empty casing is ejected. If you can imagine a box magazine with the rounds stacked up on top of one another, when the top round is picked up by the bolt, the extractor has a hold over that. It's big claw style extractor. So if if you're familiar with like Mauser rifles, for example, those also use controlled feed. Push feed, which is what they switched to, works a little bit differently. Push feed is a little bit more like a Mosin Nagant if you're a Milsurp rifle person, where the bolt pushes the top round of the magazine out and forward into the chamber, and then the motion of locking the bolt into place snaps the extractor claw over the rim and groove of the casing. I guess it's a little bit mechanically simpler, or it can be a little bit mechanically simpler. A push feed system needs its own separate spring-loaded ejector, whereas an ejector in a controlled feed weapon uses just a fixed metal blade, because the ejection force is provided by you pulling the bolt back. I prefer controlled feed because I like that the bolt positively controls that round, and I like that you can sort of dictate the ejection force by how hard you pull on the bolt. It makes the rifle a little bit more inherently reliable because there's less of a possibility of a malfunction in the form of a double feed. Probably less of a problem with a hunting rifle than with, say, a late 19th, early 20th century military rifle. But push feed is also a little bit worse for reloaders, because with a controlled feed rifle, you can dictate the ejection force just by pulling on the bolt harder or less hard when you're opening it up. So you can have, if you pull on the bolt slowly, you can have the brass just plop out instead of ejecting under spring pressure. It's a tiny difference. No one is going, I'm not buying a push feed rifle because I'm a reloader. But controlled feed is, in most people's opinions, a little bit nicer and a little bit more elegant. So that's why people like their Pre-64 Model 70s. I hope I explained that adequately.
Well, I mean, you got the entire answer and then also a lot more on top of the entire answer. So you did good. In 1964, Winchester redesigned the Model 70 to use cheaper manufacturing methods, replacing the controlled round feed Mauser-style claw extractor and many machined parts with push feed and stamped components. Collectors generally prize the pre-1964 rifles for their craftsmanship and controlled round feed action.
Yeah, and it's, I've heard that for decades, that people would bash post-64 Winchester rifles, and it kind of became this thing that everyone just accepted, like, oh yeah, they were better before 64. And then at some point I asked, well, wait a minute, why? And no one knows why. Like, very few people are like, well, it just used to be better, and I heard my buddy say it, so therefore I'm going to say it. The Winchester booth.
Are you telling us that you're Chester from Vista Mesa, Mike?
No, I would never. I rarely go by that anymore. But I can tell you that the Winchester booth, a lot of the Model 70s that I was looking at, I think all of the Model 70s I was looking at, had a big writing on the tag, Pre-64 action. And they're adamant. They're really trying to break out of that. Hey, we're not junk post-64. They've gone back to that claw thing. And I guess with the big thing with the claw feed rather than the push feed is you don't have to worry about gravity too, right?
Say again?
You don't have to worry about gravity. If you won't,
right? Yeah,
your cartridge won't just fall out of the action if you're at the wrong angle.
Yeah, in a push feed action, in between the time the round is stripped from the top of the magazine and the time that the bolt finishes locking, or I should say you, the shooter, finish locking the bolt, the top round is just hanging out there in the receiver. It's loose. There's nothing positively holding on to it. It's sitting in the receiver by itself. In a controlled feed action, again, the extractor is controlling it the whole time.
There you go.
So
Congratulations.
Sure.
You got it right.
Or again, if you're fighting in World War One, but nowadays, if you're a hunter and you are firing from some odd angle, maybe bracing yourself against a tree or lying on your side or something like that, then I suppose push feed could actually present a problem. It's just a quirk of the firearm you have to work around.
Well, I can't, Alicia, you and I were talking about that. I can't tell you how many times I've purchased something for my gun and I was solving a problem that I didn't have, but it was better. Oh, this is better, but I'm not having a problem with that, but this is better, so I'm going to buy it. So I get it. I get why people want better, even if it doesn't actually affect your performance. So anyway, great job, Sam. Awesome as always. There you go. So check him out on his other segments where he talks about gun history. Go to the Marine Corps Foundation
Association.
I'm sorry, I keep screwing that up. Marine Corps Association. Check them out, and great job, Sam. And stay warm, man.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media, and check out our website at gunownersradio.com.